Hi there, and thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Melanie Elliott, and I'm the Regional Director for Northern Ontario at Benefits by Design. And I'm very pleased to present Julia Dotto, who will be taking you through an informative webinar on selling group insurance. Previous to working for BBD, Julia worked at a managing general agent who focused strictly on group insurance. She began as a marketing coordinator and was quickly promoted to account manager. Since moving to BBD, Julia has held the role of Partnership Development Coordinator before deciding to take on a new challenge as Manager of Inside Sales. Stick around after the main presentation for Q&A with Julia. If you have questions during the presentation, please ask them using GoToWebinar's question pane. We'll do our best to answer them at the end of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and the recording will be made available to you. If you have any questions or concerns about the GoToWebinar software, please email socialmedia@bbd.ca for assistance.
Thank you, Melanie. Hello, and thank you everyone for attending the webinar today. We thought it might be helpful to take you through the stages of placing a group benefit plan all the way to the first renewal. While most of this presentation is generic to the group benefits industry, I will mention ways that you can utilize BBD to your advantage, as well as share a couple of my own personal stories from when I was a BBD client. There will be lots of time for questions at the end, so please send them in throughout the presentation so that you don't forget them. I suppose the best place to start is at the beginning. Why sell group benefits? There are many advantages to having a group benefits plan for both the employer and the employee. Let's look at some of the benefits employers will receive. The premiums paid by the employer are tax deductible as a business expense. Employee benefits are a way of attracting and retaining valuable employees. Benefits foster a healthy workforce and consequently improve employee morale, productivity, and efficiency. Here is an example of how group benefit plans are a tax-effective way to compensate employees. Health and dental plans allow employers to reward their employees by providing them with a form of compensation that is not taxable in most provinces. Because employees receive the full benefit of every dollar the employer spends, employees can get more out of their benefit plan than they would a pay increase. Pay increases are impacted before payment by both a variety of employer payroll taxes and by employee income tax. With a group benefits plan, employer contributions are treated as a tax-deductible business expense, employees receive health and dental benefits tax-free. A 5% pay increase costs a lot more than the raise. If a company decided to give an employee a 5% raise to an employee making $50,000, depending on the province, the employer would have to spend up to an additional 16% on payroll taxes, and the employee would lose 42% of that raise to the government. Instead, if the employer put the extra 5% towards a health and dental benefit plan, all of the additional money spent goes to the plan for the direct benefit of the employee. Provincial sales tax and premium tax are charged on the plan's premiums, but those taxes are still less than the payroll taxes charged on salary. Most obviously, there are many advantages to being part of a group plan as an employee. The employer pays part or all of the cost. It adds financial security to the employee and their family. It usually doesn't require medical evidence. The insurance is less expensive through a group plan versus individual insurance, and it gives employees access to products that might not be available individually. As you can see in this Sanofi study, most employees would choose benefits over a pay increase, but do your clients know this information? Be the experts in your field and equip yourself with this type of knowledge so that you can be armed with important information like this when you are meeting with your clients. Your regional director at BBD is always able to keep you up to date on industry knowledge such as this. Now that you've decided to sell group benefits, it might be helpful to consider some of the following things. I offer these questions to you as a way to spark your own creativity and uniqueness as a group advisor. Please always remember to treat BBD as your resource. While we can't answer these questions for you, we are always here for you to bounce ideas off of and to support you in any way that we can. Why are you selling group benefits? What are your goals? Will you be group focused, or is this a small part of your venture? What value will you bring to your clients? And what does your client experience look like? Where are your clients coming from, and what expectations are you setting? Do you have a prospecting process? Are you working from referrals from other parts of your business? Do you plan to use your private and social network to prospect? And what does an ideal client look like to you? These are some of the questions I hope you'll explore and be able to answer very clearly for yourself in order to be a successful group advisor. Let's quickly overview the elements that make up group benefits. What I love about the group benefit industry is how creative you can be within the employee benefits sphere. There are so many interesting trends and designs for group benefit plans based on so many factors within your clients' businesses. And as advisors, it's up to you to create and customize a plan based on your client's individual needs. And BBD is always here to help you with that. In a very simplified way, here are some aspects of group benefits. On the pooled side, we have life insurance, which is typically a function of annual earnings or a flat amount. Basic coverage is provided with higher levels that may require medical underwriting. Accidental death and dismemberment. The payout is provided if death, serious dismemberment, or paralysis has occurred, and it's often set to be equal to the life insurance amount. Dependent life is a flat amount of coverage for the employee's spouse or dependent children with no medical underwriting. Short-term disability pays a % of weekly income to a maximum amount or is a flat benefit. And it usually has a maximum duration. Long-term disability pays a % of monthly income to a maximum amount, or it can be a flat benefit. Benefits are approved with ongoing medical review, and the benefits go to a maximum age of usually 65. This benefit is also integrated with CPP disability. So now on to health and dental benefits. This covers individuals and their direct family members. Extended health typically covers prescription drugs, vision care, paramedical services such as chiropractors, massage therapists, physiotherapists, acupuncture, naturopaths, etc. It also covers hospital coverage such as private or semi-private rooms, medical services and equipment such as hospital beds, wheelchairs, orthotics, and hearing aids. And it also has out-of-country emergency medical coverage. Dental benefits have 3 types of coverage: basic, major restorative, and orthodontic. Components of the plan design could include a deductible, a coinsurance, a dollar maximum, and service limits, such as units of scaling and frequency of visits. BBD offers the following additional benefits. There's Cost Plus, travel coverage through Green Shield and Tugo, diagnostic and specialist access insurance, BenAccount, which is an HCSA plus a fully insured catastrophic coverage, standalone and top-up HSAs. Now that we've talked about some of the components that make up group benefits, let's talk about preparing for your first meeting. There's a lot of things that you can do to make this process easier on yourself. So be prepared. You can create a first meeting discovery document that you can review with all your first clients. This document can save you from forgetting important details and also give you greater insight into your client's business. It also provides proof of your due diligence and your value by asking questions that probe them to think, I never thought of that, or I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that. This allows your client to gain trust with you early on in your relationship. Simple questions like, besides you, who else is the decision maker regarding the benefits plan? Or who is your current insurer and how long have you been with them? Can help you discover important details that you need to know up front. For example, you might have several meetings with an HR representative of the company who is appointed plan administrator for the policy, and you think you are working with the person who is making the decisions. But when you ask them this question up front, you may find out that they have virtually no say in the decision making, and they are just collecting information for their boss. Asking questions in a direct way will help you find out who you should be talking to. This could save you time and energy by requesting to meet directly with the decision maker. If you ask them how long they've been with their current insurer, and they say 6 months, this could be a red flag for a group that constantly wants you to market their plan for the best deal, which is not sustainable for the plan or for you as an advisor over time. If they say they've been with their current carrier for 8 years and they're happy with their plan, then you might have to redirect your questions to show them your value and what you can bring to the table. Bottom line is, the more you can get them to tell you, the better. So you might be wondering what a discovery document looks like. I have a sample document that I've created that you can use to build your own or to use as is, and I can send that after the presentation if you're interested. So let's review some of the questions that you might include in this discovery checklist. Please keep in mind that some of these questions would only pertain to certain groups and groups who are currently insured. Okay, so you might want to start by asking who their current insurer is and for how long, what do you like or dislike about the plan, and or have you received any feedback from employees on your current plan. The document that I am referring to has many of these types of questions that help you kind of dive deeper in your conversations initially with your clients. So on top of these discovery type questions, you will also need a specific set of information to provide to the insurance company if you'd like to quote. To follow will be BBD's request a quote form, but first let's summarize it by comparing an insured group versus a virgin group. There will be certain items of information that you need to collect for each of these types of groups. When collecting the data to submit a quote, most of the requirements are fairly similar in terms of insured versus uninsured. For both virgin and insured groups, you will require the same basic data such as employee data, their name, hire date, birth date, salary, their coverage, are they single, family, or waiving, and their occupation. You'll also need basic company information, how long they've been in business, the nature of the business, their address and number of employees. For insured groups, you will also need to obtain their current plan design and rates. Are you quoting this apples to apples, or would you like some changes made? Those would hopefully be some questions and discussion points in your meeting. What is the renewal date and what are their current rates? What were their rates last year? If you can, it's always great to get a full copy of their last renewal or last 2 renewals. Claims experience for the past 2 years or more if it's available. And you'll also want to ask, have there been any stop loss claims, and if so, provide details. You can easily capture this information on our request a quote form, which is pictured on your screen. When it comes to designing a benefits plan, it's a fine balance between providing what the employees want versus what the employer can afford to supply. An easy way to keep the plan sustainable is to have the employees pay a part of the premium. Perhaps do an 80-20 split or a 70-30, always remembering that the employer is obligated to pay at least 50% of the premium. Usually when there are shared costs, employees are more aware of how their claims affect the overall cost of the plan. I would also suggest that it's better to start off small, perhaps a basic plan for the first 2 or 3 years before adding more benefits. Then you can keep control of the claims experience and get an idea of the claiming patterns for the group. Some simple ways to make the plan sustainable would be to add a coinsurance. When the employees are paying a portion up front, they might be less likely to make claims that are unnecessary and or that they won't use. You could add a healthcare spending account in lieu of paramedical benefits or vision benefits. This is a great way to control costs without taking away the option for the employees. So some employees don't need glasses, so why pay for a vision benefit for them? Some employees won't use any paramedical or vision services, and therefore they might not use their HSA amount and could save the employer money if the amount is forfeited. Keep your client up to date on how their claims are running throughout the year, and perhaps volunteer to present the plan design and how to claim to their employees. So now it's time to compare your marketing results. You have all the quotes from all your various insurance providers. So what are some key aspects that help you find your recommendation? When you receive quotes from several different insurers, you will need to decipher the differences between the plan in order to establish a good recommendation. Not all insurance companies are able to quote exactly as requested, and therefore they will offer an alternative. It will be up to you as the advisor to decipher if the alternative is acceptable or not. You will also want to ask yourself, how sustainable is this plan? And does this plan effectively capture what your client is looking for? Have marketing discounts been applied, and how will this affect your client at renewal? Are there maximums in place to protect the plan from large claims? And just look at general paramedical, drug, and dental maximums. Once the plan design has been sold and an effective date of coverage has been chosen, it's time to first do a small little happy dance and pat yourself on the back, but then it's time to collect the information to set up the plan. If the group is uninsured, then you'll need a completed master application form, completed and signed employee enrollment forms, banking information for pre-authorized checking, and a binder check for the first month's premium. Original copies of the employee enrollment forms are necessary due to the beneficiary information. If the group is currently insured, you'll require all the same things that we just spoke about, but you will also need to include the group's EP3 statement to prove that there have been no claims above the stop-loss coverage. You will also need to provide contract wording found in the benefit booklet to grandfather any necessary coverage that they currently have. To ensure that there's no duplication of coverage, a copy of the cancellation letter to the previous insurer is to be included as well as their last billing statement. Once everything is received in good order, it will take a few weeks for the employees to receive their drug cards and benefit summaries. It might be a good idea to schedule a meeting with all the staff to review their benefit coverage and to answer any questions they might have regarding the plan and how to submit claims, etc. Now that the plan is in place, what are some things that you need to think about during the coming months prior to their first renewal? During the first year of the plan, I would say that it's crucial to keep the communication open with the group throughout the year. It's very important to keep an eye on the group's claims experience and to communicate this information to the owners and/or plan administrator. This will make the renewal less surprising and keep your clients' expectations realistic. If the claims are running very high, then it might be a good idea to start thinking about plan amendments that can help with cost saving. For example, removing paramedicals and adding a healthcare spending account instead. You can always ask the insurance company to provide you with suggestions and rates and how this would impact the plan, and how they would add some cost savings to contain the claims for next year. Luckily, BBD has a program that we call Focus 369 that helps advisors manage the first year of a new group. Your account manager will review the claims for you at 6 and 9 months and will call you to provide you with the information and possibly to discuss options for plan amendments if need be. I'd like to conclude this presentation with a personal insight into the question, how does BBD add value to your business? Before I started working at BBD, I used to work with them in the same regard that you would be working with them. Two of my favorite things about BBD were the dedicated team that you were assigned and their commitment to retaining business by creating sustainable plans that work to everyone's best interest. Of course, BBD has many flexible plan design options and unique product offerings. I really could conduct a whole other webinar on these things. However, what really enticed me to present this webinar to you today was to share my experience as a BBD client and how they stood so far apart from many of the other companies I worked with. So much so that I jumped at the opportunity to start a career with them. As an advisor working with BBD, you're assigned a regional director who is there to help you navigate your new business opportunities, and an account manager who is dedicated to your whole block of in-force business. That means that you will be dealing with the same account manager for all your groups, all the way from plan implementation to renewal and all the things that come up along the way. Before BBD, I was working at an MGA, as Melanie mentioned, and unfortunately the owner passed away suddenly, leaving Melanie, yes, the same Melanie that is part of this presentation today, to fend for ourselves and try to keep the business going with no succession plan in place. This was obviously a very stressful time, and I must have spoken to Leanne, my BBD account manager, about how overwhelmed we were. Without a thought or hesitation, Leanne had emailed me all my BBD group renewals that were coming up in the next 3 months so that I had lots of time to go through them. Not only that, she actually put her own detailed notes outlined clearly in an email with all her suggestions or things she noted throughout the year, and even some plan amendment pricing. I was blown away, to say the least. She had not only listened to me on the phone and given her sympathies, but she actually thought of a way that she could help us out, all the way from Kingston. I hope that this presentation has been helpful as you start your journey into group benefits. BBD helps advisors grow in any way that we can, and I urge you to get in contact with your regional director if you haven't already. If you haven't been introduced yet, please give me a call or send me an email and I can make that introduction for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. So I was receiving some questions throughout the presentation, which is excellent, and I did have quite a few people ask for the discovery document that Julia mentioned earlier on in the presentation, so we will make sure to send that out to everybody that's a part of this webinar today. So the first question that we received is, what is diagnostic and specialist access insurance? And just because I'm sitting here on the mic right now, I will go ahead and answer that question for you. So diagnostic and specialist access insurance, also known as DSAI, allows insured employees who are placed on a medical wait list greater than 21 days immediate access to diagnostic examinations. These examinations include things such as MRI and CT scans. They also cover specialist consultations in Canada. This benefit is underwritten by Industrial Alliance Pacific Insurance and Financial Services. So, the next question that we have is, can you elaborate more on what is covered under a healthcare spending account? Why is this a good option for groups? Julia?
Okay, so a healthcare spending account will cover any claims that a regular health and dental plan would cover, anything that's under CRA guidelines. So that could be prescription drugs, glasses, any of the paramedical services, hospital coverage, you name it. It's a good option because basically it can contain costs for employers, but at the same time, it gives employees the ability and the freedom to choose what they want their benefits to be used for.
Our next question is, Which benefits can be sold standalone? Is health and dental the only possible option, for example?
So, no, we can do like life standalone, AD&D. We can do, we are actually have just launched a new healthcare spending account that's standalone. Um, we just have to have that $100 of insurable premium in order to get the standalone product access.
Another question is, don't HSAs need to be employer funded entirely? Yes, HSAs do need to be entirely employer funded. So for a fully insured plan, we can have 50% employer funded and 50% employee funded. But when it comes to a healthcare spending account, employers have to bear the entire cost. Another question we have is, how do you deal with groups who only want to see samples of plans to get an idea of the cost, regardless of explaining that it depends on demographics and coverage chosen? They just want to see a boxed plan. So at BBD, if you have a client that's really just looking for a cost up front and doesn't want to commit too much, we can do estimated costs for you on the health and dental portion. Obviously, the pooled benefits such as life, AD&D, and dependent life are based on the demographics of the group, so we're not able to give estimated costs for that. But if you do have a client that's looking for sort of that off-the-shelf plan, we can offer you a health and dental rate that's an estimated rate based on a couple of factors. Another question is, can you do standalone for healthcare for 3 lives if the $100 minimum premium is there?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So it looks like that's all the questions that we've gotten. Oh, one more. Here we go. Are BBD specialists available to accompany us on appointments?
Yes, they are, depending on where and when and their availability. But of course, they're always available to ask if they can attend, and they'd be happy to do so.
And I'll just add on to that, as a regional director myself, the regional directors are happy to come out and meet with advisors and talk about benefit plan offerings. If you do need a regional director to attend a employee meeting with you, you can speak to your each regional director in your territory, and they'll be able to set up a time or talk to you about options for that. Options for retirees. So an option that we have for retirees is our Health Assist Link product, and that product is for anybody coming off of a group benefit plan. So it is an individual product through Green Shield, and they do have options for retirees, and all that you need to do is sign up within 60 days of your group benefit plan terminating, and you are able to have coverage with them. Again, reach out to a regional director in your area, and they will be able to supply additional information to you. Will there be a session 2 with more advanced knowledge of group benefits?
We are in the works, so yes, to answer that quickly. I'm not exactly sure when it will be. I think it'll be later in the spring, but if there is interest in doing so, we can hopefully speed that up for everyone. In the meantime, though, don't hesitate to contact me at the contact information I gave you, and I'd be happy to chat with you about any questions that you have, or just walk you through any processes, things like that.
And you are very welcome, Adriana, for the info. Another question that we have is, how can I stay up to date on what BBD has to offer? So if you're not already with our attached to our advisor buzz, please do so. You can reach out to social media at bbd.ca to get more information on that. I also encourage you to reach out to all of our social media channels. We are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on LinkedIn, and we love to post a lot of BBD updates via those channels. So please reach out to us. BBD Canada for the most part. You can also actually find advisor updates and messages on our Nomad system as well. So if you don't have access to Nomad but do have groups in force with BBD, please reach out to your client services representative and they'll be able to send you your login information for Nomad. It looks like that's all the questions we have for now. So thank you very much, Julia, for that very informative presentation, and I look forward to being in on the next webinar. Thanks to everyone. Bye-bye.